connected with us from remote, Minister Enrico Giovannini, the Italian Minister for Infrastructure and Sustainable Mobility. Minister Giovannini, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
We just heard a greeting from Minister Di Maio. The keywords were sustainability, social impact, environmental friendliness. How is Italian government working towards this goal and towards the goal of building positive social impact, job growth, and economic development in according to UN principles?
Well, first of all, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Actually, during the last 12 months, the Italian government has made a lot of decisions to put the sustainability concepts and the 2030 UN Agenda for Sustainable Development at the core of its policies. I would focus on two main points. The first one is about our ministry. I decided to change the name of the ministry from Infrastructures and Transports into Sustainable Infrastructures and Mobility. The wording Sustainable Infrastructures in Italy was considered a sort of oxymoron, something that is not achievable because by definition, sustainability is an enemy of infrastructures and vice versa. This is not true. What we have done over the last 12 months was to demonstrate that the G20 principles on sustainable infrastructures are not only correct, but also feasible. This is why we have changed the way in which we design feasibility studies for any new infrastructure. And thanks to the National Plan for Recovery and Resilience, we will build a lot of new infrastructures across the country, especially in the south, but not only. I will come back in a second on this. The different principles established by the G20 for sustainable infrastructures go from the need to evaluate the usefulness, the impact of a new infrastructure on social, environmental, and not only economic dimensions, but also the need to build it through circular economy principles, and also the need to involve local communities in the decision-making process. This is why for all new infrastructures financed by the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, those who have to implement, for example, to build a new railway, have to prepare a feasibility study within which they have to prepare a sort of sustainability paper where they can demonstrate the impact on economic, but also on social and environmental dimensions of that particular infrastructure, according to the European principle that is cutting across the entire Next Generation EU, do not significantly harm the environment. The second point we made in changing the way in which we will plan and we will implement the plan is about the public debate. This institute is used in many countries, but in Italy, in the past, this has been considered a sort of waste of time. While I believe that the involvement of local communities in designing infrastructures is absolutely vital. So according to the G20 principles, we have established a national commission on the public debate, which has established clear rules and also thresholds for investments beyond which the public debate is mandatory. We have established also a clear timetable for this kind of discussion. There are currently 9 public debates going on in Italy about the most important infrastructures that we are planning to implement, to build over the next 5 years. In particular, the new high-speed railway that goes from Salerno to Reggio Calabria in the south of the country, and the same for the Naples-Bari horizontal connection. The corridor towards Brenner, towards Austria, and the other corridors towards Switzerland and France, the so-called Terzo Valico, that will allow freights to go from the port of Genoa towards the north of Europe. So, as you can see, technological changes, methodological changes, but also governance changes are changing the way in which we are planning and designing new infrastructures for achieving a sustainable mobility model that has to be implemented, especially in cities, but also outside the cities. The last point I would like to make is that this approach is going to become the standard for all new projects about infrastructures in our country from now on. The Prime Minister has issued a directive to the so-called committee, Interministerial Committee on Economic Planning and Sustainable Development, in order to have all projects that have to be agreed by this Interministerial Committee designed according to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the UN 2030 Agenda. This means that all the proposals that will come from different ministries has to be designed in terms of impact on the 17 goals and the 169 targets of the 2030 Agenda. Our ministry is at the forefront of this change, the way in which we have built the new decision-making process within our ministry with a sort of scoring system for all new projects that will come from the different regions or companies to build a new port or a new railway and so on and so forth. Well, this experience will become likely the standard that the Interministerial Committee will apply also to other ministries. So in conclusion, the change of the name of the ministry is not just, I would say, a language issue, but confirms a completely brand new approach to the way in which we are designing, building, and running the new infrastructure system and mobility system in Italy. I hope that this will become also a good practice at international level. Our contacts with the European Commission and with the OECD are very encouraging. It looks like this new approach is one of the most innovative worldwide. And in this perspective, I hope that other countries will interact with us and with these international organizations in order to implement the G20 principles in concrete terms. And I'm sure that the companies that will be at the forefront of this new approach will become also important competitors at international level in order to export this kind of approach to other countries. Because if all countries in the world have to implement the UN 2030 Agenda, the goal 9 is devoted exactly to sustainable innovation and infrastructures. I hope that the Italian companies, through this new approach, will also be able to gain competitiveness around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Giovannini, for being with us today and for explaining to us how Italy is working towards sustainability and development in the framework of the UN Development Goals. Thank you very much.